That's right, we're doing some more SimCity 2000. Today I'm going to be demonstrating the Oakland Hills Fire scenario. On October 21st, 1991, a fierce wildfire swept out of control in the Oakland Hills. We have 5 years to rebuild the population to 50,000. Let's go. So there's a firestorm that broke out, and it's right by Will Wright's house. Yes, this is a scenario based on a true story. When he was living in Oakland in the early 1990s, this happened to his house. His house was damaged or destroyed by a wildfire. So, yeah, this is a scenario based on true events. First thing I'm going to do is bulldoze a one-tile barrier around the fire. If done correctly, this will prevent the fire from spreading, and I'll easily be able to put out the fire. So it takes a minute, but it's worth it to do it properly. Gonna try not to destroy Chris's house. And I'm going to make sure my one-tile barrier, or buffer, is complete and clear of all trees, power lines, and roads, as well as buildings. And let's send some firefighters to clean up the mess. Gonna speed this up a bit. Right, that didn't take too long. The fire is almost out, and fire thrashes Oakland. Let's pause the game, and as you might have noticed in the newspaper, as well as the message that is displayed here, it said "Citizens demand police." So let's keep that in mind as we bulldoze all the rubble, and we're gonna rebuild this hillside neighborhood. Okay, so we can still see where the zones were, as the zones will leave a footprint, but roads don't leave any footprint. So you kind of have to guess where to rebuild the roads. Next, we're gonna hook everything back up to power, because many of the power lines were destroyed in the fire. Gonna finish rebuilding the roads here, and power this zone here. One of the first things I like to do in this scenario is build a little bit of industrial next to the Caldecott Tunnel. So this neighborhood, if you look at the hills above the tunnel, you can see a lot of abandoned zones, and that's because they're too far from other types of zones. You need a good mix everywhere you go. So let's put some light industrial there, and I'm gonna rezone a little bit of this residential here, and we'll change this to commercial. So if you recall, we saw that there's a lack of police coverage in the city, so we do need to build a cop shop. And I'm going to find a good spot to do that, but first, let's take a look at the map. And if we click on the crime data layer, we can see where the existing police departments are. So there's one on each side of the map. That coverage isn't good enough, so let's take a look at the crime rate, and I see that we could use a station over here. Alright, so let's find a good spot, and we might have to bulldoze a bit, but that's okay. And also, one thing you want to remember is not to build buildings like police stations and fire departments too close to the city limits, because then you're essentially wasting like half of the coverage that you would be getting. So it makes more sense to build them a little bit away from the city border. Now, that being said, let's do a bit of bulldozing here, and we'll build our police station. Okay, and let's resume the game. Now the next message we're seeing is industry needs connections. So let's take a look at our city borders again. Right off the bat, you see a highway with no neighbor connection. So let's build one. Over here, we see another place where we need to build a highway connection. Let's build a road out of town here. And on the other side of this tunnel, let's build a connection here. Also, make sure everything is hooked up to power. Now, let's see what the next message that pops up. And it's the end of year budget screen. So we have 5 years to complete the scenario. We need to act sort of quick. So to increase demand and increase our population, I'm going to lower taxes. People are asking for a pollution ordinance. That should also encourage growth. And it seems, from what our advisors are saying, we need a hospital and a school, as well as an airport. And also, we have one of our oil power plants is going to be decommissioned in 2 years. So it's actually this one here. But first, while we still have money, let's build an airport. And let's pause the game and think about where we want to put our school. Looking at the map, there are 3 schools, 1 here and 2 here. I'm thinking we should build a school here. Just looking for a good spot to build it, and it doesn't matter if it's close to the edge of the map, so I'll build it here. let's rezone a bit of this residential just to encourage more growth. And a good mix of zones is always a good way to go. Make sure everything is powered and watered as well. If you see any nearby zones that need water pipes, build them. Now, it might take a month or two for our airport to develop. I'm going to rezone a bit of this residential to light commercial. And I'm going to increase this to dense residential. This is another neighborhood that needs more of a mixture of zones. So let's build a little bit more commercial. Now we're getting a message that says residents demand zoo. First, let's build a hospital. I was going to build one earlier, but I changed my mind where I'm going to build it. See, originally I was going to build it next to the school, but I thought of a better place near the highway. This area by the highway is mostly undeveloped commercial. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this road under the highway and connect it up here. Next, I'm going to build that hospital here. Let's zone a bit of commercial on top of the hill here. And we'll plop down a nice park. Now, you remember that residents demand zoo message. Well, how much does a stadium cost? 5,000? Looks like I have just enough. Now, this being Oakland, of course we're going to have to name the team the Oakland Athletics. Oakland A's. There we go. Forgot how to spell for a sec. Fill in any zones where you see fit. And make sure everything is watered. There's going to be a lot of areas missing pipes, so do the best you can. It's not imperative to beat this scenario, but it always helps. Oh, looks like building that stadium spent all my money. So we're going to take out a loan at 4% interest. Let's unpause the simulation. Make sure that no power gets knocked out Now it's a good time to check the population. We're at 42,160. We need another 8,000. So I'm going to stop the simulation once more. And any zones that you see that need power, let's make sure that everything is powered. This is another good example of a neighborhood that doesn't have a good balance of zones. So we're going to build and rezone a bit more commercial, as well as some more industrial. I think I can bulldoze this tiled by the edge and build a road up here. Yeah, that'll work. And I can fill in these gaps here. Yeah, we're going to need more industrial just to support the increased residential population. Continue filling in any gaps that you see in this neighborhood here. Hook everything up to power. And yes, we will definitely need some more water pumps. So let's start building some. And something makes me think that this grid isn't fully connected. What I mean by that is this pocket of the grid wasn't connected to the rest of the city. And I do want to get one unified water grid going. So on that subject, you can definitely use more water pumps in this city. The biggest challenge that you're going to see here is that there just isn't much water on this map. I'm going to make sure that the grid is fully connected. And I'm going to continue to build more water pumps, sacrificing a bit of these parks in the process. Keeping in mind that I don't have unlimited funds. Sorry, but these random houses gotta go. Another thing you can do, though it's expensive, is to put down some surface water and make the adjacent water pumps more effective. Make sure the grid is all connected. And let's see where that takes us. So this area should develop a little bit better, but we also need to think about this side of the hill as well. I'm going to put a little bit more industrial behind this police station. A little bit of commercial out front. more industrial out back here. And I'm going to finish this road here. Now our population is 42,600, so a little bit under 7,500 to go. So that neighborhood should be good. The next thing we need to look at is this new development in the hills. You see, it looks kind of like an unfinished subdivision. The roads are mostly built and the zones are planned, but there's no infrastructure. So let's develop this area. Another thing I should point out is that this is more of like a residential zone area, and there's not enough commercial and industrial to support it. So what we need to do is zone a little bit more of the commercial and industrial zones. Make sure everything has power as you go. Also, I want to finish this road like that, and I'm going to build a little bit more industrial close to the edge of the map. Make sure everything has power. Spare no expense. And we can increase the density of some of the zones where we have enough space. Let's zone a bit of commercial over here. Continue to zone and hook up the zones to power lines. Now let's unpause the game and we'll do some last minute water pipe construction. Taking a look at our population, we're almost at 46,000, and we have a little bit less than 4 years left to go in the scenario. Like 3.5 years, something like that. Continue to increase the density where possible. And let's take a look at our budget screen because proud to report that crime is at an all-time low. You know what that means. Yeah, so we're saving a bit of money here, but we do need to build a college. And there's only 1 year until our power plant is destroyed. So we'll also need money to replace that. Since we're developing this neighborhood, I thought that this would be a great place for our new college campus. Let's increase the density of some of these zones. And we'll build a little bit of commercial. Power lines always help things develop faster. Alright, let's unpause the game. And let's work on the water pipes a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Taking a look at our population, looks like we've hit a bit of an ebb, but where there's ebbs, there's flows. Let's continue to increase the density of some of these zones. Still a lot of zones that are still unpowered. So whenever we get the Residence Demand Marina or Residence Demand Stadium or Zoo, you can also put a big park and it will only cost you $150. So talk about cost effective. And what do we have here? It's a crash. And that is some luck because it destroyed the power plant that was going to blow up anyway. So, you know what? After this, I'm going to disable disasters for this scenario because it actually... These random disasters actually make it difficult to complete. I had to restart because the first run I left disasters on and something like this happened, but I wasn't so lucky. This power plant was gonna blow up anyway, so yeah, I got very lucky there. So yeah, while I thank my lucky stars for that, I'm going to show you how to replace the power plant that we just lost, that we were going to lose anyway, mind you. So, yeah, very lucky how that turned out. I'm going to click no disasters because this video is more about showing you how to complete the scenario. It's not about like random disasters ruining your day. Alright, so if we take out a loan, we should have just enough money to build a nuclear power plant. So with our increased capacity for the grid, now that we have increased supply, I should say, we'll be able to continue to grow without having to worry about running out of power. I want to make sure that my nuclear power plant is connected to the rest of the grid. Somehow, I think the same thing that was the case with my water grid was also the case with the electricity grid, where pockets of the grid weren't connected to the rest of the city. So it looks like the power is finally restored. I noticed that one of my advisors was asking for more schools, so I'm going to build one in this new neighborhood as soon as I find a good spot. Do I want to do any terraforming? Probably not. It can get expensive. Now, like I said before, schools don't have to be away from the edge of the map. They don't have a radius for their effectiveness. Not one that you can see on a map, anyway. And, oh yeah, I was going to build a park. Let's build it right next to the college. Alright, everything is hooked up. Let's unpause the game, and we'll keep an eye on our messages as well as our population. We are at 47,670, so under 2,500 to go. This area could use a bit of a pick-me-up. It doesn't take much, because all I need to do is zone a couple of tiles of commercial, and the area will be a lot healthier, and it will start to thrive. Could probably use a bit more over here. And let's hook this up to power as well, because I think it will grow faster that way. Let's zone this hill with some dense residential, and rezone some of the light residential. Make sure everything has power. And let's take a look at the population. A couple months have gone by. We're at 48,140. So under 2,000 to go. Didn't mean to destroy that road. Let's see how this area is developing. It's looking pretty nice. Not bad for when we started. This was just roads and zones. Nothing was connected. Let's finish some of these water pipes. All right. We're almost at our population goal. Just over 1,000 to go. We don't have too much time left, so I'm gonna act fast. Let's lower taxes to spur some growth. All of our advisors are happy. Let's rezone a bit there. And let's continue to build roads. Can I build a road here? I'll build one up here. It's kind of hard to get these roads connected sometimes. There, that should work. Place down a few last-minute zones. That's already dense residential. That should be enough to get us over the hump. Gonna do a bit of last-minute water pipe infrastructure work. This area could use a bit more light commercial. Taking a look at the population, and we're just shy of our goal. Not too shabby. Let's see how the A's are doing. Classic A's. And there you have it. Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenarios. I think it's a lot of fun. I like Oakland. I like how this map is designed. We were able to, I think, solve a couple of infrastructure issues, and we added a lot of service buildings. And if we look at the city now, it's yeah, a population over 50,000, and yeah, continuing to grow. Residents demand another stadium. So yeah, you can see that Oakland is in demand. Yeah, I think this is a pretty cool scenario, and yeah, I had a lot of fun recording this demo. So thank you for watching.